Hi guys, how are you guys doing? I hope you're all well. Oh my god, I haven't filmed in so long. I've just been like getting my thoughts together and just getting myself together. So yeah, I hope you guys find this video helpful. I've had a lot of new subscribers as well. Thank you very much for subscribing. I hope you find something helpful here on this channel. In this video, I'm wanting to talk to you guys about safety as a social worker. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Go ahead and subscribe, give this video a thumbs up. So basically I wanted to make this video because safety as a social worker is really important. Like, we all tend to work with people that have had, you know, significant trauma. They may have some mental health concerns. They may have had like criminal charges in the past. You know, there's all these things that kind of scream risk. So it's important to like have some kind of protocol around safety and things like that. This doesn't only go for social workers who are working to get paid. It also goes for students on placement and things like that. So it's really important to be aware of what you need to do in order to keep safe as a social worker. And for me, the safety isn't just around the physical, where, you know, you might get assaulted physically, verbally. It can also be, you know, your workload. What does that look like? How much supervision are you getting? All that is part of worker safety, in my opinion. Although generally it's the physical aspects around protecting yourself so you don't get hurt by a client. That's the part that's usually focused on the most. Now, so in this video, I'm not going to be sharing specific things you can do, but I'm going to be sharing more things you can bear in mind when you're having conversations with the organizations that you work with, because the protocols for every organization is very different. You know, some organizations might have like some kind of thing you wear around your neck that you can press if something escalates. Some people might have like some kind of buzzer that you can press. Some people might have like a code word. You know, every organization is very different, so I can't really give you those direct tips, but I'm gonna give you like things that you can keep in mind, what kind of questions you can ask, you know, when you start a new job, those kind of things. I hope you find it helpful. And if you haven't seen, I've actually been assaulted before. This was about 3 or 2 years ago. I can't remember exactly when that happened. I did do a bit of a story time around that. I'll link it in the description box below for anyone who's interested. Luckily, it wasn't too serious. The first point I want to make is you need to be able to ask for support. Your organization, the organization that you're working for, needs to be aware enough to be able to provide room for you to voice concerns you might have around safety and be willing to do something about it. And if it means reviewing their policies and procedures and stuff like that to incorporate your concerns, then that's what needs to happen. But you need to work for an organization that's willing to hear what your concerns are around safety and is willing to do something about it. Another point is it's important to understand the background of the client that you're working with. You know, have there been previous convictions in the past? What were they about? What were the crimes committed? Do they have any mental health concerns? Have they been violent towards other workers in the past? Those kind of things are really, really helpful to help you put together a safety plan before you see them. And you can kind of organize around that. So if that's happened, then maybe you might decide not to go to their house for a home visit. You might decide to get them to come to the center instead. You might go into a room that's that has cameras. You know, all those things can be put in place if you have a better understanding of the background of the client that you're working with. Another important point that I would like to make as well is like, it's important for you to protect yourself as a social worker online, especially through social media. If you're using the same name you use at work online, obviously it makes it very easy for people to access you. People can easily find you, people can stalk you, people can get to know your family, people can get to know who you hang around with, where you hang out, all those things. So it's really important to be aware of that. And if you can change your name to something different to what you use at work, then that makes it easy. This is something that I struggle with a little bit. Like, my name isn't the same online as it is at work, but then it's not that hard to find me on YouTube because I'm like the only social worker who does what I do online. You know what I mean? I protect myself to some extent with what I share online. It's important to be aware of that and know what you can and can't share online, and just know that you're putting yourself at risk if you're putting certain things on the internet, and if you're using your full name and all that, then it's easier for people to find you, and that's obviously a safety issue. Another point I would like to make is it's important to find out from your organization when you start working, like, what is the protocol should things escalate with this client. You know, there's obviously some circumstances where unfortunately you're unable to stop things from happening, and it might escalate to a point where the client may become verbally or physically or whatever abusive towards you. It's important to understand the protocol of, you know, what do you do if that happens. Is there any training you need to do? That's another point. It's important to be aware if there's any trainings that you need to do before commencing work and getting involved in those. Most organizations will be organizing all these things if necessary before you start working with clients, but just in case, you know, it's important to be aware of it. Like, for instance, in my new job, I do home visits quite a bit, and I wasn't allowed to do any home visits until I completed the home visiting training. So that might be something that you might experience in another organization. And I think these points are important because we all have a right to work in like a physically environmentally safe, you know, organization. You know, we don't have to be put at risk in our work just because we tend to work with people that may have experienced trauma or mental health concerns. So another point I guess you can ask is like, is there a mechanism for collecting data around incidents that may have occurred? Like, you know, I know from my previous job we had like an incident reporting system. In my current job as well we do, where we record all the incidents that happen, and this is reviewed I think yearly or something like that, so that way they're able to improve their procedures and their policies and things like that. It's important for every organization to have this. A few things that I do to help me with my safety, this isn't necessarily around policy or anything like that, it's stuff that I've found helpful. If I'm going out to do a home visit, a lot of the time there's always 2 workers. The only time that I'll go on my own is if I'm meeting with another service at the house of the client, and if that's the case, I stay in the car until the other worker arrives. So there's always a second person when I do home visits. This might not necessarily be applicable for every organization because it just depends on what kind of work you're doing and that kind of thing. Another thing I do is I always let my manager know where I'm going to be and for how long as well. And I always leave my location in my calendar. So I put the appointment date and time and everything in my calendar, and I put the address in there as well, just so people know where I am within those times. And that can help with safety, just in case, you know, you haven't returned. People can call you and find out what's happening. Our organization also has a code word as well, where if I'm with another staff member and something isn't right and I need to get out, like, then I have to say that code word, and then we have a protocol around responding to that as well. And yeah, as I said before, the more you know about the family, the better. Like, you just need to know as much as you can, get a good understanding of their history, their background, you know, what's happened in the past, what's happening now, all that, and that would help you plan appropriately when you need to see them and minimize the risk of an incident. So yeah, that's all I've got for you guys. If you guys have any tips around safety in your work, make sure you leave it in the comment section below. Give this video a thumbs up. If you have any particular recommendations around what videos you would like to see more of, make sure you leave it in the comment section below as well. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. If you haven't subscribed already, what are you doing? All right, take care guys. I'll see you later. Bye.